Hey now, Victorinox here. So today, I'm going to take a look at a couple of cool Swiss Army knives from the past. As always, the coolest ones are the oldest ones, aren't they? Well, first up, we've got what I'm going to call a Craftsman. Now, this is an 84 millimeter model, typically known as the Artisan, except the Artisan had no bail or keyring. So when you take an Artisan model and add a bail or keyring, from what I've seen in the catalogs, they offered a Craftsman model as that. But so we've got the nickel silver bail pins, all this nice stuff. This is a knife that was rebuilt by Victorinox. Has the aluminum tip tweezers, plastic toothpick. On the back we got the square Phillips with the file. My favorite iteration of the back Phillips. If I'm going to have a back Phillips, that's the one we got. Got that reamer. Bam. No hole on that guy. Up top we've got the usual array of cap lifter, screwdriver with the sharpened inner edge and the stripping notch. We've got the plus pat can opener that lets you know it is prior to 1971. We've got the infamous and much missed 84 millimeter scissors. Bam. Excellent action on this knife too. Next, we've got the wood saw. Now this is a transitional one that has the angled teeth with the brushed surface. Normally they have a polished surface with the angled teeth, or they have straight teeth and a brushed surface. And that changes right around 1975. The bails changed in, or 65, I'm sorry. The bails, they ended around 1968. So it puts us probably in the mid 60s. Finally, we've got the main event. The main blade, 4-line tank stamp, Victoria. The clip blade. Now this is the Artisan or Craftsman in this case, as it would have been from about 1961 until 1968. Prior to that, it would have looked something like this. This is an Artisan that dates to between 1957 and 1960 right about. I've had to rebuild this one. When it came to me, it literally fell apart. I didn't even bother doing it. It was just fell apart. The liners were so bad. I tried to open it and it cracked and kind of like split in half. It was the worst shape I've ever seen a knife in. So I put some new liners in it, cleaned up the scales, cleaned up the tools. I replaced a broken cap lifter, and now we've got a cool functioning relic from that tight period in 1957 to 1960, where you had the old style European awl, as some people call it, the exposed awl, combined with the hidden rivets. Before 51 to 57, this would have exposed rivets. 57, they went to the hidden rivets. So first up, we've got that reamer. Bam. Love this awl. This is my favorite Victorinox awl. Fantastic. On the back, we've got the Phillips with the file. Square Phillips, no can key. The best iteration again. Got nice flush springs. Everything's lined up nice on here. We've got the nickel silver tipped tweezers. This knife was so rusted, I think it was exposed to salt water or chlorine, possibly, maybe pool water, something like that. I mean, the scales, or the liners, were just powder. The tip of this and the shield were completely covered in white powder that I had to sand off. It was like a crusty layer on top of it. It was very interesting. I've never seen one quite that corroded. The liners are notorious for falling apart, but I've never seen them that, like, they were chemically disintegrated at a basic level. Next up, we've got the cap lifter. This was completely broken off. I threw it in a junk box somewhere, but the tip was broken off, so I replaced this with a later one. but it's the exact same one, has the sharpened edge and everything. Got the Plus Pack can opener with the 2D Phillips small flathead. Great action on this guy. Next up, we have the saw. Bong. And that's something you'll notice too. The order of the tools is opposite in this one. This one, the saw, the scissors come after the opening layer. This one, the saw came after the opening layer. Now this is, although it's a little scratched up, this is the polished saw with the angled teeth, as you would typically see the saws from prior to 1965. Excellent. Nice action there. It was a bitch to get that to close in there because, you know, these knives were like hand assembled back then. So there was a little bit of fitment and going up. The tolerance and the tool production wouldn't have been like it is today. So whenever you end up having to replace liners and stuff, I always find that you have to do a little hand work, hand filing and sanding to get everything to line up nice and clear. Next up, we've got the famous 84 millimeter skizzers with a modern spring. To get the modern springs to work in here, because they stopped selling the old ones, you have to flatten out the tip up here because these old scissors do not have the notch in there that rides in. So I flatten that out, and you also have to shrink down the spring roll there so it'll fit in the smaller hole. Or you could drill it larger, but I don't like drilling them out. If I don't have to change the knife, I won't change the knife. Finally, last but not least, we've got that little clip blade. Nice little clip blade. Somebody was rough on this guy, but I did some minor polishing to it. I didn't take it too far because I kind of like it a little rough. And I plan on using this knife anyway. And then, last but not least, we've got the main blade. You can see this thing was shown a lot of love in its lifetime. Somebody carried this thing and used the crap out of it. I love seeing that. So the blade's a little wasted away at the tip. I don't think it ever broke. I think this is just how it gets sanded. You really got to pay attention when you're sharpening knives because it's very easy to just end up putting more pressure there and just getting this pattern where the knife stays thick at the heel and then tapers down to the tip and you lose that belly. So it's something you got to be aware of. But you're just going to see it on old knives. You see that the blade is often just flattened out almost in a straight line from tip to heel. Not quite, but this is still plenty functional tip left. It closes. You know, you don't got to worry about it catching. Again, this spacer, man, this thing was like completely encrusted in this white powder oxidation from the nickel, silver, and aluminum combination. It was brutal cleaning this thing up and getting the scales to go back on it. The scales were rough. There was so much dirt underneath the scales. It's unbelievable how that dirt gets under there and kind of stretches everything out. Just ruins everything. But, you know, out of the junk drawer, I've saved another vintage Swiss Army knife that will have its place in my collection and hopefully have a long life yet to come. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Swizzarmygrizz out.